Who's ready to hear the atrocity that comes from third grade David and his friends? I have two stories, both of which I'm pretty sure feature a poem. They do. So this is going to be fun, because, great. Alright, so I'm going to start with the one that I wrote in cooperation with a friend. Okay, so one night, Sir David and Sir Dan went on a patrol because the guards were too clumsy to guard. Dan saw a strange light. It was shining like the sun so much, Dan didn't feel tired anymore. Space. It's a sword! Space! Exclamation mark. Space. It looks like Arthur's. Period. Quotation mark. Declared David. Period. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that. Point is, there's horrible punctuation. Nah, I have his in my rucksack, said Dan. Oh god. Those are... Oh god. Okay. The diamond on his sword is flying off. It broke. Artie's gonna kill me, gulped Dan. Wait. Okay, whatever. Let me read the writing on this one. No, don't, screamed David. Vegi, Dumbo, Croopy, Newt, Caliber Cree, read Dan. Those are cuss words in Camelot, screamed David. Who told you that? Asked Dan. No one. I thought he was smart for a sec, thought Dan. They looked at all the shining. What? Uh-oh, said Dan, frightened by the words he said. Joseph's time sword, they both yelled. When they went through hyperspace and landed in ancient Egypt, they saw a baby in the Nile River. The water whispered as... What? The water whispered as they looked. It actually screamed as it swished in the waves. Okay, what are we talking about now? Okay. Who is that? Asked Sir Dan. Moses, said David. Don't you read the Bible? Oh yeah, that's right, because... International Christian School. Ah, I knew that, said Dan. David scoffed and said sternly, the other ones that are in the Nile are only miners. Nah, they don't have bombs in their hands. Miners, not miners. I'm going to read the time sword again. No, don't read the flaming thing, shrieked David. You'll get us sent to the dinosaur time. For some reason of trickery, David did not... What? David did not trust Dan. Dan was sneaky as a snake. I would be surprised if you could stop him. No, I'll read this one. It goes to the future. Tooey gooey kablooey teehee. You're a riot, Dan. Brief intermission. Please stand by. We will access time travel in no time. Hoochie mama. What? Okay, whatever. It's hot out here, said Dan. Aw crud. We must have been sent out to the desert, noticed David. I'm gonna kill Joseph. Who said that? Shouted a huge boomy voice. Moses, thought David. Okay, why did we quote Dan's thought earlier and not that? That just... Joseph, stammered Dan. Dan, it's just Moses. said David. Don't be afraid, Dan. Oh, okay, said Dan. Why are you wearing silver? And how? Oh, that's in bold, by the way, and following that is an underscore instead of a space. So how do you know my name? Said Moses. Big ears, said Dan. Moses left to Mount Sinai. That is by far the fastest a character has come in and left that I know of. Oh, hi. How do you know my name? Big ears. Leaves. Nice job. Oh, and this following part is in all caps and bold. Einstein. Wait. This takes place during the medieval era. How did they know about Einstein? Ah. David, I'm not smart. I was wearing the dunce cap in my Christmas story. Because we also had to write Christmas stories in 3rd grade. Dan, that is what you call... Oh! Okay. Sarcasm in italics. You donkey, said David. They waited 40 days and 40 nights because that's symbolism in the Bible, and for some reason we thought that would be significant in this. On the 39th day, they realized that the Israelites were making a golden calf. Dan and David knew that Moses would be coming down tomorrow. They were disobeying one of the 10 Commandments. Dan and David had to stop them. So they went over to the camp and said, "Stop this instant. You're gonna be punished by God and Moses." Sorry, God ampersand Moses. They both yelled. Wait a minute. I thought they said that, then it... Who told you, Moses? There needs to be an apostrophe there. Moses' brother Aaron asked. Yeah, we want to make a god, Miriam, Moses' sister said. And no other god, there's just random capitalization. It's not even on the right things. It's just on before and who, for no apparent reason. No other god before our Lord who made the sun and the land, sea. Okay, you gotta be consistent with how you use your commas. Like, if you're gonna use it wrong, at least use it wrong consistently, said David. Aaron, there needs a indent, please. Why did my teacher allow this? Aaron thought, maybe they're right, so let's listen. Then Aaron yelled, "Smash the golden calf," with three exclamation marks. It's the whole 3. Then the camp smashed the golden calf and got their gold earrings and their wait, I thought they smelted it. When did they take off their clothes? Whatever. They put back on their clothes, stopped partying. I think that's about 4 spaces. And then they worshipped the Lord. The next day, Moses came down Mount Sinai peacefully, not angry like the opposite of the true story, and did not break the 2 tablets. Then Dan said, "I'm going to read the sword again." It doesn't finish, there's no pause. I'm just... Okay, try it. I'm getting bored out here in this hot pot, which is capitalized, said David. Then Dan tried it and it didn't work. What's wrong? Asked David. I dunno, said Dan. Then Joseph appeared and asked, "What are you doing with my time sword?" They both answered, "We found it, then ended up here." "Give me that," Joseph boomed. Okay, we put stuff in all caps whenever someone said something, and then when Joseph booms there, it's in just normal. It's actually the one time it's actually properly done. Like like dialogue is actually properly done there. Then they went back. Oh, then they went into the castle. Wait, hold on, wait, I lost. Okay. Then they gave Joseph the time sword. Joseph read the time sword, and they got back to their time. Both of the knights were excited to be back. Then they went into the castle. Then their dragons surprised them. Their dragons were looking for them for 14 nights. They're time travelers! I'm sorry, but that's just not how that works. Their dragons were happy too. Then the dragons and the two knights always stood side by side. I'm sorry, but the dragons here have no significance. What was with me and dragons? I'm like actually wanting to cry right now reading this. This is just terrible. How did this get anything above like a D minus? Whatever. And by the way, how do you put and by the way when you're telling a story? King Arthur punished Dan for eating the diamond on his sword. Dan was sorry that he ever touched it. And now here's a random poem that has nothing to do with the rest of the story, but whatever. David and Dan found a sword, and Dan got extremely bored, so he read it aloud. They were gone. They were both gone in a cloud, and Joseph took back his sword. Fun. I don't remember these people. No, I'm not gonna read this other one. It has 2 poems. Oh. Yeah, I'm just gonna be done. I would take forever to read this again. Oh god.